Sometimes I feel like I can't catch a break. There are some things that are out of my control. When it comes to both my flagship cars for this channel, sometimes I feel like I can't catch a break. And what I mean by that is, aside from enjoying working on them, I also really like to drive them. But there are some things that are out of my control that really bother me. Last year, I went to Monterey and I took my 911. And on episode 53, I talked about how my car was vandalized while it was parked at the hotel. Although it was a bad experience, the good thing about it was I could have easily fixed it. Fast forward to about a year later, and I have another problem with my 911. On the last episode, I had my 911 all covered up after I washed it, and so I just removed the cover halfway to show you a few things that I noticed. From 3 to 5 feet away, the car seems fine. I would say probably the average person won't even notice this, but because it's my car and I'm focused on a lot of details, there is a small problem that I noticed, and it's right here on the fender. I'm gonna go a little bit closer so you can see it. So right here, there's a little indent. It just so happens that someone opened their door on my car and it hit an area that caused a lot of damage. From this angle here, it doesn't really seem like a lot, but let me go ahead and go underneath so you can see a little bit better. I have a light that's flashing from further down here so you can see a little bit what I'm talking about. So here's a dent. I'm not too sure if you could see it, but underneath here, it actually cracked. So I consulted with a PDR specialist, and that was the first thing that they ask is if behind the dent, did the fender crack? And because it's cracked, it's compromised this part of the fender. So if they try to massage it out, then it would compromise the strength and make it even worse to crack and possibly bleed to the front, which is what we don't want to happen. So even though this looks like a small problem, there's not much I can do to fix it. My second problem is right behind me, and from a driver's perspective, it's actually right in front of my windshield. From far away, most people won't notice it, but where my cowl is at, there is a panel, which is right there, that is missing. So with these cars, there's two, one on this side and one on the passenger side. The passenger side is fine, but this in particular is missing. I want to say probably someone was missing a piece and they saw my car in a parking lot and they popped it out, because I know for sure that if this came out while I was driving, it's in direct line within my driving view and I would have seen it. And this doesn't just come off easily. You'd actually have to pop it from the tab. So this was stolen from my car recently, and it was around the same time as I noticed the dent on my fender. Both these items are beyond my control, and it happened when I wasn't around, so there's not much I can do about it. As far as the problem with the fender, I'm not too sure. I might get a second opinion with another PDR specialist. And as far as the little panel that came off from my cowl, I looked up on Suncoast and they sell the cowls, but they don't sell the panels that cover the screws that fasten it. So it was kind of odd that they sell just the cowl alone without the finishing panels. I referenced Suncoast instead of Pelican Parts, so that was my mistake. Regardless, the cowl doesn't come with the side finishers, so it leaves me with very little options to fix this problem. I might have to go to a salvage yard and source a 997 that hopefully has those caps to finish off my cowl. So my problems don't end there. Unfortunately, my M5 is affected as well. And this time it was actually my fault, so I'll take the blame for that. On the last episode, I installed the sun visors, which is right behind me, and I finally took my car for a drive. And as I was parking close to the median or the curb at a parking lot, because I wanted to keep my distance from the car beside me, so I tried to get as close as I could to the curb without scratching my wheels, and something else got affected. Unlike the 911 where I had my fenders damaged, this problem here is something that people will notice. And as I get closer to the car, I'll go ahead and zoom into that problem. So this area of the lip hit the curb. I tried to angle my car to where it would get close to the curb but not touch it. But this comes out maybe 2 inches. This comes out maybe 2 inches from the lip, and I just missed it. And you can see there that it damaged the side of my front lip. Again, this problem was on me, so I'm not too taken back on that. On episode 43, I did a DIY of painting the front lip on this car, so I'm more likely gonna fix this on my own here in my garage. Every time I'm in Rancho Cucamonga, in particular Victoria Gardens, I always keep an eye out on any interesting cars that come my way. So on this episode, I have a few clips for car spotting.
0, 1, 2, 3. Let's get started.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me?
One of my buddies gave me a call and told me he has a surprise for me, so he brought it over to my house. Type R! Wow. Red seats. Mike's 2024 Type R. Stop by to drop this off. What's the color called? Big brakes in the front. My buddy Mike just stopped by. He's the one that owns the red NSX, and like I showed you earlier, this is what he got me. I guess he was at the toy section at Target and thought it'd be nice to add to my Fast and Furious collection of cars. On the previous episode, I mentioned that this episode I was going to go for a drive, but I decided to squeeze this episode in before the drive, so that will be coming up next. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.